All right, guys, we are back with another episode of the Blue Crocus Experience, and I'm excited for this one. Dave and I have we kind of go way back. We've
Yeah.
bumped into each other a few times in the groups. He had been referred over to me. We did end up working with him way back, and we've kind of just kept in touch since then. So, very excited to connect with you here today, Dave. This is our first conversation, first time connecting aside from
Yeah.
Messenger. So, welcome and great to have you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. So I'm gonna dive into something to catch people's attention here. But you run, you run, and you run with a kilt, which is crazy. Two crazy things. Bring us up to speed on that, and then we'll just kind of see where the conversation goes.
So about 10 or 12 years ago, a couple of buddies of mine, there was a kilt run in Raleigh. I live in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, and it was an 8K. And like, hey, you want to go do it? There was about 10 of us that got together, bought the kilts and the sport kilt. And it was made for runners. And we just, it was what we wore when we ran. And then I went and took a couple of years off of exercise and whatnot. And kind of got back into it, and those wearing a kilt while running is very liberating, and it's just kind of one of the things I do. And then also, you just do your best to be an eye catcher. So when I run, I wear the kilt. I got my Backwoods Junk Removal shirts on, and I run carrying the American flag every time.
That's amazing.
So
So
I'll probably
when you say a sport kilt, that's interesting. I didn't know those existed. And you
yeah.
say liberating, are you like going commando?
No, we're not commando. You gotta keep everything contained.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say
I wear my boxer briefs there.
could be
But yeah,
some
it's
unwelcome chafing otherwise.
right, exactly. A little chub rub.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. How can you credit any jobs that coming from, people seeing you there?
I don't think I can do like jobs per se, but if anybody's listening that's a runner, you hear some wild conversations while you're running because everybody thinks they're in their own little world. And when I run, I don't run with earbuds in or anything. It's just me and the road. And I'll hear folks say like, "Oh man, well, one, everybody loves it when you're running with the flag." Veteran myself, and yeah, you'll hear people say backwoods junk removal. So that's like one of whatever, however many times folks get to see the name for it to set in. So
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, making a statement while having fun for your
yeah,
business. It's
yep,
a killer combination. Awesome. We are having a few people jump in here. So we've got Adam Hummel. Some of the ones in the groups don't show up, but I've got it pulled up here on the other screen. Adam, great to see you. Jamie Fami is here as well. Robin Shaw, Danny Granados, and Matt Moses himself. Backwoods Junk Removal is a beast. This is going to be awesome. I agree. I'm excited. So bring us back to the start, Dave. Appreciate you diving right in there
oh
with the
yeah.
kilt story, but bring us back to the start. So you're a veteran. Appreciate your service. Talk about that, and then how did it go from there to here?
So high school, I knew I really wasn't a college bound kind of guy, so I enlisted in the Navy, and then that route. I wanted to do the rarest thing I could do. That was my mindset when I first joined. So I ended up in nuclear power, and I was a volunteer for submarine duty. So I went through 2 years of school for naval nuclear power.
Wow.
And then I did 4 years on the submarine. Um,
Do you go on
After
any
that,
tours in the submarine?
yeah, see some cool stuff. We did surface through the ice at the North Pole. If you Google USS Connecticut as a boat I was on, and then polar bear, it'll pull up when we were up, punched through the ice. We had a polar bear come up and jump on the rudder and whatnot, and that was
That's
pretty neat.
amazing. That's amazing.
That's,
I read the book Blind Man's Bluff at Joseph Martinez's recommendation.
yes.
Very
Hmm.
cool. Very
Yeah.
interesting story of the subs.
Yeah. And it's like, can either confirm or deny. So
Yeah.
it's some pretty cool stuff. When you're going through it, it's not as neat, but as the years go by, it's more and more impressive. So
It condenses down to the highlights as the years go by, right?
yeah, you forget about the bad stuff
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
So
I love it. So you were in there,
yeah.
and then
So I grew up in New England, like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and then year in 2000, my folks and my brother and sisters moved down to like east of Raleigh, North Carolina. So after I got out in 2005, I wanted to be by my folks. Having a Navy nuclear background, I hired on at the nuclear power plant here in Raleigh, the Harris plant. So, and that was in 2005. And then about 5 years ago, which would have been, it was December like 28th of 2018, I was on paternal leave with number six of our seven kids. We have a
I
blended
was gonna
family.
I was gonna ask about that
Yeah.
because I was creeping your Facebook. We can get into that in a
So,
second.
yeah. So I was on parental leave. That the cool thing that they had just, I missed out on that years before, but they just had implemented that policy. So I had 6 weeks off, and I was bored and tried little other odd jobs. And if you got a truck with a trailer, you're doing it anyway. And I just started doing it for beer money. And I have a monthly planner that I keep, and that's what I was writing all my jobs down. A name, phone number, and how much I made. And I had that for the first 2 years where I was doing it, and I still have those in my closet, and I keep that for just to look back at how far we've come in 5 years. But yeah, and then it just started growing into something that was pretty darn neat. So, and then the all the junk removal, Facebook groups and all that, reading through those. Lee Godbold,
Yeah,
Junk Doctors. I've never
yeah,
met him personally, but now we do have like friends of friends. I have good friends of mine that went to school with him. He's from the Cary area. So,
yeah. He's right in your
um,
neck of the woods there.
yep, yep, Junk Doctors, JRA, and all that. I did call them up. I was like, hey, can you was right in the beginning of when I was looking for websites, 3 or 4 years ago. And guys like, sorry, man, it's a conflict of interest. And I was like, yeah, I understand that. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, Ali Gabal, his videos that he did, I mean, he's done a boatload of them over the years. And it's just like, if anybody wants to like just get like a good basic knowledge of what's going on, just watch all that stuff because it's still applicable. Numbers change a little bit, but the theory's all there.
yeah, yeah.
So, and then I worked for the plant for another, whatever, 17 years total. I had a good friend of mine. He's one of my groomsmen. We worked shoulder to shoulder for 13 years. We're in our 40s. We don't really like corporate America. And I was like, hey, you want to be a business partner? And we have um, complementing personalities. And so we became business partners. And he quit his job before I did. So he was there for 23 years. Boom, took off. I was 17 years, took off. So,
That's awesome. So that's Terrence, right?
yep, Terrence.
So how does that work? So you guys, because I've been watching you guys, right? And I
Mhm.
see you guys. Seems like you still like each other. That's a pretty
Yeah,
unusual thing for people that go into partnership. It's I don't know how many clients we've had that it's been really messy partnership breakups and
right.
crazy stuff like that. So when you say he compliments you well, talk a little bit about the dynamics there.
So I'm more of like like do a change. Like I'm good with giving it months to figure out what's going on, where he's more of an instant gratification kind of person.
Hmm.
And then we also appreciate each other for that. Now when it comes to conflict, you have all kinds of conflict. Um, we're consider each other brothers. So I don't know if you've ever gotten in fight with a sibling, and then my wife should be like, she's like, "Is everything all right?" I was like, "Yeah, everything's fine." Sometimes you just got to bicker. I mean, we do everything shy of the physical scrapping. We'll get in arguments or whatever, disagreements. But really, that stuff is healthy. It needs to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, not everything is always peaches and cream. It's so
Even
it's
even
been
in a
pretty cool.
marriage, if you're not arguing and having disagreements, you're probably not facing the things that need to be faced, right?
Right. Yeah.
Let's dive into the family life a little bit. 6 kids or
Yep.
7 kids, you said?
We had seven. So my wife and I, she when we got met each other, she had two kids. I had three. We got together, and then we had two more. And I'm good. Youngest was born when I was 40, and I was like, all right, I'm good.
That's a lot of kids. We've
It
got
is.
4 kids, and I think we're gonna stop there, but, they're all under 5 years old. It's a lot. Uh,
Yes.
we call it the circus, right? But,
Yep.
how do you guys manage that?
It's cruel that the oldest now, he's in college, he's freshman in college, and then the youngest is 3. And then we have, because we're a blended family, we have every other weekend type stuff and whatnot. So it's just like a continuous, revolving door, it would seem to
Cycle,
most
yeah.
people. But, the older kids, if I got a down weekend where I'm here at the house and, my wife, she's a hairdresser, she works for herself, it all runs smooth. The older kids, they one of the enlightening things was when we took our oldest to college for orientation. They went all over all this stuff like how to do your laundry, cook, all these like do's and don'ts. And I'm like, geez, I was like, our kids know all that. So like the older kids, they'll cook for everybody, they clean up after themselves, and all I got to do is kind of supervise and make sure, it doesn't go bad real quick. But no, they're awesome. They do great. Only thing I don't delegate is diapers.
Yeah.
So
That's fair. That's fair. I love it. I love it. So let's dive into junk removal. That's what a lot of people here listening
yeah,
are going to be in that space. And you've been through various iterations of marketing agencies. We could talk a lot
yeah,
about, the pluses and minuses there. But I see you guys also putting in a lot of sweat equity when it comes to actually boots on the ground, going out there networking, running with your shirt and your kilt and your flag, things like that
yeah.
that make you stand out in the community. Can we talk a little bit about that and kind of share some tidbits that could be helpful for other people?
It's always like I've been like an engineering guy, so marketing and people skills and all that are really never my thing. So it's always kind of learn as you go, crash course. And once I started and kind of had the logo was happen chance, the guy that lettered the truck for the first time, he did like the whole ask you your personality, what are you looking for? And he's gave me a couple composites and I was like, boom, that's it. And it's stuck ever since. We never changed it. We don't do any characters, nothing. It's just the name and what we do is in the words.
Yeah.
And then once we kind of got that and had a set of shirts made, um, I was like, I will no longer advertise for anybody but myself. So we'll go out to dinner one night, and my wife's like, "Oh my gosh, you got a shirt that doesn't say Backwoods on it." And I was like, "I got a couple of them, but yeah, everywhere we go, I'm always wearing it because at the beginning, you're the face for the business. And it's like watching your kids grow up. It gets to the point where the business has its own face and then you're just promoting it. So we
Yeah.
kind of see that going. But yeah, it's just, I don't know really where I was going with that, but
No, we all know that you've got button up dress shirts probably with the name on it too. You go to
oh yeah,
weddings and whatnot, and
everything embroidered.
yeah,
Our work shirts are embroidered polos. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So let's dive into the nitty gritties a little bit because a lot of
Mm.
people get hung up on this. You've got the name, you've got the brand, love it. They've gotten to that point. How are you connecting with people? If they don't want to run, I keep coming back to the kilt because that's something that I think is the more different you can be, find something
Mhm.
that you're different in and run with it. Everybody has an X factor and no one can take that from you. I'm six
Right,
foot eight. There's not many other marketers I know that are 6'8". So
right.
I'll hinge on that a little bit in my marketing, right? You are you. But then there's, some of the basics of realtors, property managers, stuff like that. Let's walk through some of the things that you guys do that, is your X factor, and then just some of the common stuff that people just need to hear again.
So we found that in the Raleigh area, in our experience, it's so competitive that um, the prices are. It's kind of hard to. There's some folks I don't even know how they do it. How do you maintain insurance, licensing, trucks, and all that kind of stuff, and pay for what the service as low as they are. So we really concentrate more on like realtors and residential,
Mhm.
and then the biggest thing is like branding is what it is. It takes time. We have a lot of friends that are self-employed entrepreneurs, and they say, "Listen, you just gotta hang with it. It's sometimes it just takes time."
Mhm.
So that's what we do. We've tried, and you got to try everything. At least twice. I say first time, whatever. Second time, just give it another shot, see if it happens. Yeah, we tried the door hanger thing. What we do on all of our jobs at when we go ahead and even up at the end, we always talk to the customers because it's an interview with your client. We
Yeah.
don't call them customers or clients because they're with us for life once we service them the first time. And like, hey, how'd you hear about us? And it's just that's pretty crazy. Usually, we found out the yard signs work out well for us. We did last winter. We put out Terrence and I about 4,000 door hangers,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of walking, a lot of time,
It
and I
is.
think we counted 2 phone calls out of 4,000 of them. So what's something we could do is you got those door hangers. So now we got 10,000 door hangers. What do you do with them? We just go ahead and cut them off, and we use them as a coupon because it says $50 off in the front.
Yeah.
We just go that route.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So testing what works in your market. Ads might not be the fit in every market, and that's just the way it is. How are you connecting with realtors? What makes you stand out, and how are you finding realtors that consistently give you work?
So there's definitely, and it's one of those things like when someone's like, "Hey, how's it to be a parent?" and you really can't tell them until they do it.
Yeah.
And folks said, "Hey, really, you hit a new level when you go from your 9 to 5 job and you quit that job and then you go to work for yourself full time, especially if you've never done it before."
It's a cliff. You gotta
Yeah,
jump.
yeah, pretty much. And nobody likes jumping cliffs, so at least not in that way. But that's what it was for us. I was able to do that, and then it was just connecting with people. You find out. I mean, you talk to how many realtors and whatnot. Sometimes you could drop into places and see them, but really, we just try to concentrate on like one part of Raleigh, or like our Fuquay, Holly Springs, Apex, and we talk to the people in that area. Contractors. Like I said, my wife calls me Mayor Dave because I'll go into a room of strangers, and then before we know it, we're like high fiving and having a great time together. So it helps that way, and it really just kind of takes time. Put
Gotta
yourself
shake,
out
gotta
there.
shake hands and kiss babies, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. What's something that if you were to start all over again, that you would do differently?
Mm, I would look for a mentor somewhere like not in the area necessarily. Um, I think I tried to reach out to one or two folks. They weren't very receptive of it, but it's like some of us are afraid of no,
Mhm.
and I still am as well. I have a hard time when people want, that rejection thing. But I would reach out to a couple of folks, like look at where you think you want to go, and then try to find. Because I mean, gosh knows how many junk removal companies there are in the U.S. or Canada. Just see what you think you would like. Look at the Facebook page, your website, all that kind of stuff. And a majority of folks, I would say, probably are owner operators still, where they don't have a call center, and just call them up. Um, like on Facebook, I'll get all the time get sponsored ads for guys out of like who knows, Texas, Arizona. I'll call them up, and I'll say, "Hey, man, I'm just seeing your ads in Raleigh, North Carolina. Just you're wasting some money." So and it's kind of neat to talk to different folks because that's the voice of the business. So I'm not going to call somebody up and give them advice or whatever, but you know it's neat. Yeah, a mentorship would probably be the best, and that's free.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I love it. I love it. Do you read much?
actually, as of a month ago, I got back onto that, but I have done a bunch. Let's see, stuff that helped me. Willing to fail.
Yeah.
The gentleman 1-800 got junk. That was probably a big one that catapulted me. And
Solid book.
then Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a good one. That kind of also put things in perspective. So
Changes your money perspective quite a bit.
yeah, it sure does.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So what's the state of your business now? Are you guys still on the trucks? How many trucks do you have?
We have, with the two of us, we have 2 trucks, and we have a backup that we have now. And then going forward, right now, it's hire somebody. And, we had the truck and trailer model, dump trailers. We got a dump truck now, so we don't have to hire somebody that has that skill, reduces the liability,
Yeah.
because that is a very, I take it for granted. I don't take it for granted. It's something that's not easy, but when you do it, it comes easy. But it's just something that is not required. So, but yeah, so this year it's start hiring folks. Look at your growth. It's hard to project growth based on that footwork that we do. So we haven't done any paid ads in probably a year and 3 months. No Google or Facebook ads, Instagram, anything along those lines. We just got our marketing folks that we've been using and our website guy,
Yep.
old Matt Moses,
Yep.
killing it. And yeah, so I mean, you try to project growth, and of course it's nerve wracking. You got to buy a brand new truck and pay for it, and you're like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do it? But it ends up getting done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the next,
That's finding someone that can back a trailer is a whole different person than someone who knows how
oh
to
yeah,
work.
yeah. No, I see. The next big step is getting someone driving one of the trucks. So we do more. I think that'll be the next, big hill to get over and a big jump in revenue.
Yeah, and then what do you see you and Terrence moving to? Because this is an interesting point that you guys are in, and a point that lots of guys wish they could be in. Because that now it's another transition, it's another cliff to jump off. Where do you see that going for you guys? What does your day to day look like after that?
We kind of talked about it, but with us both having the same background, sometimes you get somewhere you don't know how you got there, and you're like, oh my gosh, here we are. Where are we going? We're not really sure. We're making great time. Um, we got finally, the business phone number used to be my personal number, and just yesterday, actually, we got a physically different phone, so now we can actually hand the phone off to each other. And I think with the taking incoming phone calls is going to be one of the last things that we delegate.
Yep.
If we do, well, I mean, we will eventually, but um, I don't know if it's going to be a week on, week off kind of thing, where one guy's on the truck and the other one's not, and then whatever. So, and then looking forward, you look at your market share and all that kind of stuff. Um, then you're looking at like org charts. What is the org chart going to be? There's some big moving companies out there where it's a partnership, and then you got the marketing guy, and then you got the operations guy. So it's pretty neat. It's something to think about. We
Yeah,
hadn't
what's
quite
your
figured out yet.
yeah, it's all just kind of growing as you go. What would you say is your zone of genius and Terrence's zone of genius in the business?
Terrence is definitely like an operations kind of guy, where it's like the day to day stuff, and the trucks and all that kind of stuff. I think I feel more of the marketing guy.
Yep.
I enjoy it. I always try to do what you really enjoy. Then that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, yeah, it's certainly easier to wake up and go to work. You got bills to pay, but it's nice when you can enjoy what you do, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What are some of the things that you guys? I know we've kind of talked about it and don't want to keep
No,
saying the
yeah.
same thing over and over. But what are some of the things that you have done or are thinking about doing that no one else is doing, or that you haven't seen someone do on the marketing side? Because I marketing is my favorite thing too.
Right. Some of the things we thought of, because we're getting away from the dump trailer. So you still got that trailer there. Some folks will sell it. We just want to put a big sign on the side of it. Maybe take it to a tire shop and be like, hey, just put your tires in there. Because North Carolina's got a recycling program where you pay every tire that I buy, anybody buys, you pay $3 for.
Yeah,
So the tire disposal is free. You just got to fill out a bunch of paperwork to make sure it's legitimate and where the tires come from. So that's one way, just to get like a billboard sitting somewhere.
yeah,
Um,
that's a big deal. There's press
you
releases
know,
there. There's a page on your
yeah.
website. Matt's gonna be all over that stuff.
The I went to a Alice Cooper concert over the summer, and he's not, I wouldn't say the greatest musician in the world, but his act is amazing, and he's a great marketer. Because I'll read up on folks, do the wiki and all that kind of stuff, and one of the things that he did is he had his name on the side of a bus in like London, and they paid the bus driver to break his bus down in traffic, like rush hour traffic, where his face and his name was out there just to get more people to come to the concert.
Wow.
So you're like, I mean, could we get a 26-foot box truck with Backwoods on the side of it, and then occasionally runs out of gas? One of those things. Um, the yard sign thing. We did some experimenting. I try to like get good data off of that. I don't want to like waste the effort. So it's like what works best for these yard signs. So we've done stuff like along the highway, the belt line around Raleigh, on the side roads, secondary roads, and we've even gone to areas where we have pretty much no presence whatsoever, and then we'll test putting yard signs out there to see if we get any phone calls, just in the areas that we're not used to. So
Yeah. 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 I think there's a lot of interesting things that, people think. I really think when people think marketing, they think ads, SEO, website, right?
yeah,
That's what I
right,
sell, right? So, that's the message I keep telling, but I'm really trying to branch it out because it's not, you've seen this. Ads aren't the thing that saves you. Your website's not the thing that saves you. SEO
right.
is not the thing that saves you. You can get so creative with what you do, and you guys have done some of that, and it's I think people need to break out of the box a little bit and get back to, hey, what's the roots? Go ahead.
So we do talk about presents and whatnot. We do free Christmas tree removal every year,
Yep.
and I think this is the third or fourth year we've done it. And we started using Workies for our platform,
Yep.
and we started doing online booking this year, and we put a free online booking little tag on there for a Christmas tree removal.
Yep.
And then now when folks call up and we'll just say, hey, if you could just go to the website and go to the online booking. One, it helps the SEO folks, Matt, and then two, they put all their information in for us, and then boop, I get a little notification on my phone, and boom, we can go take care of it.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's a good one. And then we're going to try to work on a referral program. So as we're getting bigger, you start worrying, like, hey, we got these key performance indicators. We got to start looking at KPIs, budgeting, forecasting. Um, so, customer acquisition cost, how much do we pay for each paying customer that we have, client that we have? Um, so that's a lot of data going in. It's awesome.
It's a lot of data. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about the Christmas trees because I've mentioned this to our clients. I think it's brilliant. Um, how has the uptake been on that, and talk a little bit about the end result.
I would say from last year to this year, we got about twice as many trees. It's still not an incredible amount. We probably got like 30 of them.
Hmm.
And I would say our area that we're advertising is like 140,000 people,
Yeah.
which isn't bad, but a majority of those were new folks. So that's another good one.
And that's data that you now have to remarket through text and email and all of that.
Yep. So, and another cool thing about that is when you do your networking, like property management, apartment complexes and all that, there's not really, it's not worth working for like, Bell Partners or anything because they're cheap or whatever. But you can talk to those folks and be like, hey, if you need a tree picked up or one of your residents has a tree they're trying to get rid of, just have them give us a call. We'll get it for free. Same thing with you call. We have a couple of local sanitation companies that are smaller, not like Waste Management or GFL or whatever. And we talked to those folks and like, hey, if one of your folks has got a tree out by the can, just have them give us a call or tell them to go book online and we'll take care of it for them.
Yeah. Adding with value, collecting people's names and numbers,
Yeah.
remarketing down the line. What's the craziest job you guys have ever done, or multiple?
Uh, I think the words was like, I've never been so happy that this went successful. You got those old tube TVs that weigh like 300 pounds each. It was a PT facility and they were updating and they had a bunch of those TVs in pockets about 9 feet in the air.
Oof.
And so short of getting scaffold up there, it's pretty much like you got to ease the thing out, kind of get it setting on your head like the Chiquita Banana Lady, and then kind of walk down the stairs. And it was just incredible. I can't believe it. I mean, it was calculated, you know, so and it went off all right, but nobody got hurt, and that's a big thing.
Interesting.
That was
Interesting.
probably, and then I had to pick one of those darn things up 2 days ago. You know,
Yeah, I know. I saw your
folks
post.
always folks always tell you like, "Hey, this thing's really heavy." You're like, you know, a lot of folks say that. You know, whatever. You get there and you're like, "Man, you know what? Damn, this thing is heavy."
They're heavy, man. They're
Um,
backbreakers because they're so awkward to handle too.
yeah, I mean, you can't hardly bear hug the thing. I mean, I could bear hug a lot of stuff and move it, but not that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. We've done, you know, the jobs. I don't want to say they're crazy, but you're just kind of like, man, I'm just trying to do my job. Where you know, there's some family something going on, and you're cleaning out the garage, and then the ex-wife shows up, and then like a fight ensues, and you just kind of like step back, and you're like, man, you just want to like kind of melt into the truck right here and just pretend that I'm not here. I don't know what you guys got going on, but that's like the whole trying to be, you know, empathetic to what's going on, and talking to people and being a people person about it.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of those, you know,
Then the
and then
police gets
gosh,
called.
no,
That's always fun.
yeah, we've never been at a situation where the police got called. I mean, everybody knows all of the weird stuff that you find, right? Because when you're throwing stuff out, especially if like somebody has already moved out, so they don't really know what they left behind. You know, usually folks will try to hide whatever items
Under the
or
bed, in the
under
dresser.
the bed, in the drawers, you know, in the garage, in a basket, you know, and then you just, because one of the things that we tell folks, especially if somebody had passed away in the family and we're cleaning the house out, we always try to take a peek in the boxes. We just don't blindly throw everything away, because there we found this one lady, her dad's flag from where he died. He was a veteran, and they had the flag from the funeral.
Hmm,
And I found it, and she had drove up from Charlotte and had already gone back. So we went, you know, went to UPS, we boxed it up, and I mailed it to her.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Yeah. Any crazy finds that you got to keep?
We had a recumbent bike. The bikes that you lay down on.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman. They moved, and he's like, yeah, he's like, in the move they broke the fender, which was a replaceable part. And he's like, just throw it out. You know, so I looked it up, and it was a $3,200 recumbent bike. So
They're not cheap.
no, well, I went ahead and we kind of donated that to one of the local bike shops. You know, so it's,
That's
you know,
killer.
I'm not, yeah, it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I
Um,
see it. There's some pretty interesting stuff. You see guns, you see, random things that people find, and it's fun. It's fun sometimes to see what they are.
well, some of the other things you do is like you find people that you can give stuff to. Like I got Magic the Gathering, the cards from like in the 90s. I got a guy for that. You know, he's like, if you find any of those, he's like, let me know. I will pay you for every one of them. And he told me that a week after I gave a whole shoebox away
Of
to
course,
some, kid or whatever.
of course, it's
Yeah,
always
we
the
got,
week after that someone asks for it.
yeah, we got folks for instruments, like whether it's a stringed instrument, wood instrument, just all different little stuff. And it's trying to figure out how to keep all those folks sorted in your phone. So you're just like guitar guy, you know.
Guitar guy, yeah. Yeah, like when we were running, when I was more involved in our business here, it was like, oh, I need insulation. If you find any sheetrock, if all that stuff,
Yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
people just come to you because they think you see everything.
So what we do is, sometimes you'll take stuff and you'll bring it home, because it's pretty cool or whatever. So and then you try not to be a junk removal job yourself. Like every
Yeah.
3 or 4 months, I'll back the trailer up to the garage and clean it out. But we've called it the throw it away later pile. So what we do is I have one, Terrence has got one. It's just like this revolving pile of stuff that we bring home. It's pretty cool for a month, and then down the road it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. How much stuff do you actually donate, like, to restore Habitat for Humanity and stuff like that?
Uh, you know, a lot of the furniture that we're getting here lately, a majority of it is all the particle board stuff, and most of it's going away because either dogs got it, cats got it,
Yeah.
or whatever. We haven't come across a whole lot of that, like the older, real wood, so to say, furniture.
Yeah.
And then we have some of our recycling places, they don't take a whole lot of stuff. They're extremely picky because I don't folks I really don't not at least in this area shop a lot of thrift stores. So like couches and pretty much got to be brand new, pristine looking before they'll drop it off.
Sure, sure. Have you guys given away anything on Facebook groups before, like for exposure?
Yeah, yeah, I'll do. Bench vices. We got it's a Manifuque Arena, the men's group in this area. So if I get like a nice Weber grill or like a big bench vise or something along those lines, I'll post it on there. We got a damn gateway computer. I don't know if you remember that, like in the 80s, and you used to have to cut out the UPC code to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
your whatever. A guy I used to work with, he had it in a storage unit. He was cleaning it out. And he's like, yeah, it worked when I put it in a box. And it just looked like he just set it there yesterday.
Hmm.
So I found if there was anybody that had that as a hobby, and I found a guy. And I'm like, yeah, man, there you go. 100%
Yeah, yeah.
an old Atari. I found an old Atari.
That's
Gave that to a
museum
set of
stuff right
folks that
there.
carry. Oh, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, PJ Hickenbottom, I'm gonna have him on the show here soon, but we did the same thing. Give away as much as you can in the groups.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Refrigerators, dressers, stuff that still works.
Oh,
Anybody
yeah.
that's listening, if you're looking for a cheap way to market, just say, hey, we've got this free off the junk job. Throw it up there, randomly pick someone from the comments, drop it off. You save some dump fees, first of all, and then you've got a ton of
Yeah.
exposure in the groups. It's a solid thing.
As crazy as it sounds, is like, you can resell things, but it's like you get more out of it if you donate it to
Yeah.
folks,
Yeah.
and they remember your name and all that kind of stuff. And,
The marketing piece right there is
it's just,
massive.
it is. And it's also cool. Like if you're giving away like a bike or something like that, and it makes you feel good inside too.
Yeah.
It does me anyway.
Fills up your bank,
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
it doesn't fill up the money side of the bank.
Right. Yeah.
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 And actually selling stuff is a lot of work. You gotta list it.
Yeah.
If you get to any amount of volume, it's way easier to
You got to
just pick
haggle
one
with it.
person, give it, and then be done.
Yeah.
Selling, you gotta sort through all the low ballers and then arrange a time to meet up with someone that actually has money, and they might not bring the money. And
I got like a 1972 Sears Suburban lawn tractor. It was pretty cool, and I get it to the house. I put gas in it, boom, fires right up. It's amazing. And that was one thing I sold. And that was probably like 4 years ago. And I posted it on Facebook and Marketplace. I wake up in the morning and I got like 33 messages. I'm like, geez Louise, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
It's amazing. Other stuff you put on there, and you don't get a single thing for like 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? We'll just go ahead and donate this stuff.
I love it. I love it. Very cool. Well, Dave, this has been fun. This has been a fun chat. Great to catch up in real life here. I think there's some cool stuff for people. If you were to leave one thing with listeners, what would it be? It can be anything.
Uh, I would say if you're just starting out, I mean, this is it just kind of like say like you don't choose a junk life, it chooses you or whatever. That's kind of how it ended up happening. If you're forcing it and not liking it, I mean, maybe time to do something else. But look in hindsight, even it was kind of eye opening when I said it. But finding a mentor, that's a good way. There's a lot of folks out there that offer like a paid mentorship. It's so many folks out there. Is it worth it? Yep. Because Lewis and I were talking earlier. Like you can either go to school and you pay for an education, or you pay for it through experience and sometimes errors, sometimes great decisions. So it's other people's data is probably the way to go.
Yeah, sometimes we don't have enough time to make all the mistakes that we need to get where we're going. So you got to pay someone to
Right.
compress time for you, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would say majority of the time it's worth it. I mean, even if you learn one little bit of information, that's like an aha moment. It catapults you to the next level. There you go.
it's a big deal. Yeah, I love it. Well, guys, appreciate everyone showing up, jumping on the show with us. Dave, again, appreciate you, and look forward to catching everybody on the next one. Talk soon.
Take it easy, Lewis.